Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Streett, and today I'm going to discuss the Quant Lab offerings from Zacks Professional Services. What we do is a little bit different from some of our other areas, and I think what we do can best be characterized as a bit more quantitative and a lot more customized than some of the other areas of our company. So let's get started. Very briefly, I want to touch on three things today. The first is a product of ours that we call QZRS, and it's effectively a combination of databases and software that together offer a fair amount of depth and breadth that many of our clients use for model building, for backtesting, for performance measurement. There's a lot there, and I'll touch on that. The second area is our raw data subscriptions and subscriptions to earnings estimates, revenue estimates, brokerage recommendations, things like that. And the third area is the most customized and customizable area, and that is an arrangement where a client will contract with us for a very specific project. Basically, you would come up with a set of specs, a set of marching orders, and we would execute that and provide it to you. There's no subscription involved, no data or software subscription, and it is an arrangement where we do the work and then deliver the results. So let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is the QZRS product line. And perhaps the best way to get across what that can do for you is to highlight a number of things that are being done with it right now by our current clients. Primarily, it is a backtesting platform that clients use to create and measure and refine and generate proprietary models, proprietary investment models. They could be based on price, they could be based on earnings revisions, it could be based on financial statement information, whatever it might be. Ranking stocks within a sector by metric, developing models that might be sector specific or market cap range specific. The large cap space tends to test differently than the small cap space. The end result would be a proprietary model or proprietary score that you could then use for screening, for stock selection, whatever it might be. Many clients of ours do subscribe to third-party data, but for whatever reason lack a sufficient software set that would allow them to manipulate that data the way they'd like. Many people will use our platform to do that, but use a third-party data vendor in conjunction with our software. One of the things we can do is a trading simulation where we take into account, for example, maximum number of assumed stocks in a portfolio, turnover, transaction costs, market cap range that is preferred, and then a standard menu of output statistics is available with the resultant portfolio and performance for that test. Something else we do is testing any metric really against holding period returns and seeing how those returns do against each other, against the market, against the overall universe. We also have clients that are using our platform to archive their own performance. The proprietary models they might create generate performance, generates member stocks within the model, and all of that can be archived for later purposes. Many of our clients are banks, and they have a lot of audit and reporting requirements, and our system can be used for that. So what I want to drill down into today, very briefly, is some output that we have for assessing the correlation between any given metric, and today I'm going to talk about earnings yield, and that correlation with returns. So here what I've done is take a large universe of stocks and divide it up into 5 different groups, 5 different fractiles, quintiles. And the first group here is that portion of the universe that has the highest earnings yield, which of course is just the inverse of the PE ratio. The last group is the group of stocks in this universe that has the lowest earnings yield or the highest PE ratio. And this tested the returns for each of these 5 groups. So we have the highest earnings yielder here, next highest, and then the last. This gray bar right here represents the returns of the entire universe tested, and this lighter gray bar is the returns for the S&P 500. So over this period, we can see that the higher earnings yield stocks returned the best overall on average, and the lowest earnings yielders were at the other end of the spectrum. Along with this software, you get output with a whole menu of statistics that will give you insights onto how exactly this metric, and again, I want to stress that any metric really can be put through the system, but how this metric correlates with returns over time within different time frames, within different market cap groups, or within different sectors. So there's a lot of ways to go here. Also given is the standard deviation or the variability of those returns by quintile. And here we have the first 5, and we have, interestingly, the 5th quintile, highest variability in returns along with the lowest absolute returns, resulting in a Sharpe ratio that is basically returns relative to standard deviation. So again, the first group, the most desirable set of stocks against the last, and you can see how that metric performs along the whole spectrum of earnings yield. Along with this output comes statistics on percentage of stocks within each group that outperformed, the number of stocks within each group, the high value, in other words, the high earnings yield number for each individual quintile. So you'll see what stocks were in which group. Again, give us a call and we'd be happy to show it to you in more detail. The next area I want to talk about is our raw data offerings. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here, but I do want to get across that we have a whole sector of customers who subscribe just to our data without any software. And our data goes back many decades. We have estimates for both EPS and revenue, both consensus and detailed, meaning broker by broker, and analyst by analyst. The surprises, pre-announcement, again, revenue and estimates. We have broker recommendations, both consensus and detailed, and of course, share price and dividend data, again, going back a generous amount of time, along with financial statement data, both quarterly and annual. Many of our customers use this for their more fundamental screening and testing requirements. And of course, we also provide maintenance files, which addresses the issue of name changes and company changes, ticker changes, splits, that kind of thing. If you are dealing with historical data, you would want to be informed on all the corporate actions. So again, that's the data offering for us. Feel free to give us a call. We have a little bit more than what I've touched on here, but I just want to get that across. And hopefully when we do talk, we'll be able to help. So the third area I want to discuss today is, as I mentioned at the top, our consulting area. And this is by far and away the most customizable offering that we have, because we will contract with clients to provide exactly what they're looking for. And most of the time, people will call us because they have something very specific in mind that they want to test, that they want to look into, but they don't want to subscribe to the software itself. They don't want to dedicate all the man hours it would take to get what it is they're after. They'll basically outsource it to us, and that's what we're here for. Among things that have been done are, as I mentioned before, performance measurement and rankings. There is a financial periodical out there that ranks stocks, I should say companies really, based on how fast they are growing. They have a fastest growing list each year, and we run the numbers for that. So that's a case where no software subscription is required. We will just do the work and provide the output. Other folks have proprietary numbers that they want to look at, numbers that they don't want to buy off the shelf from somebody else, numbers or information that they might not be able to find elsewhere in the marketplace. So what we'll do is put that together in accordance with very specific specs and provide what we can. Might be within a sector or an industry. We might test different sectors against each other, whatever it might be, or market cap ranges. So hopefully something I've said here will ring a bell with you, and if so, please feel free to give us a call. Hopefully we can help, and thanks for watching.